All right. All right. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Call Halayim Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Arachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops, a great millstone, tell us his truth. Honors and salutations to the elect, and to the men that died doing the work of Yahweh Shem Shai, because they shall arise first. To the men, women, and children that believe on the true name of the Father and the Son. The Father's name is Yahweh, he exists. The Son's name is Yahweh Shai, is the deliverer, because he's come to deliver us of this captivity that we're in. My name is Micah Allah Ben Gab Ben Yasharala, Church of Philadelphia camp here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Once again, come back at you with another one. As the title says, now is the high time to remember your calling. All right, a message to the righteous prophets, all right, of Yasharala. All right, and the reason why I'm doing this because, everything that I've been hearing through the spirit with brothers, certain brothers I know I spoke to, brothers are going through it right now. All right, and you've been going through it. This is we're being tried, man. The hour of temptation is coming upon us, but we prophesied about these things. All right, as the prophet Jeremiah said, before he formed thee in the belly, he knew thee. He ordained thee a prophet. So you got to remember your calling, what you were born to do. All right, and through the prophets coming out here on the highways and hedges and speaking, they have actually changed laws. They're taking away laws because of the words that the prophets use, man. Because they don't want this truth to come out, but they can't stop it. All right, a prophet, his spirit is fire, man. All right, you can't contain it. All right, when the Lord says speak, you got to speak, man. And I always tell brothers that. All right, so let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 14, all right, and 37. All right, Lord's willingness to be edifying. It's just something that was on the spirit, heavy weighing on me, man. Because you got to remember who you are, man. A lot of brothers, call themselves nobodies, or I'm nobody. All right, the Lord was a man of no reputation, but he knew he was somebody. You have to have that confidence, not cockiness, is what I'm basically saying. All right. Let's see, 1 Corinthians. I'm going to go to the blue. 1 Corinthians 14 and 37. Brothers been out there, so don't be discouraged. All right. As time progresses, just keep that same passion, that same fire. And the only one that's going to be able to put it on you is Yahweh Shem Shai. All right, Bashem Chakodash. To keep you motivated, keep you going. All right, that's why you need each other. All right, so it's 1 Corinthians chapter 14, 37. Here we go. It says, all right, 1 Corinthians chapter 14 and 37. It says, if any man think himself to be a prophet or spiritual, let him acknowledge that the things that I write unto you are the commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Arachakodash. Hey, Shalom, bro. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Arachakodash Barakatah. Bong bong, my brother. It says, read it again. This is 1 Corinthians 14 and 37. It says, if any man think himself to be a prophet or spiritual, let him acknowledge that the things that I write unto you are the commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. But if any man be ignorant, let him be ignorant. Wherefore, brethren, covet the prophecies and forbid not to speak with tongues. Let all things be done decently and in order, and that's the brothers that's out here on the highways and hedges, speaking, man, and like we get it from the apostles, man. All right. The order of things that's supposed to be done. And you hold that up in all your churches, man. If you're a righteous prophet and you have a church, you're head of a church or something, you're going to let it be done decently and in order, man. All right. The Lord has one church, all right, and that's the church of Yahweh Shai, man. All right. and that's the umbrella, because that's Yahweh Shai came to speak to what his men. All right, to prophesy to them so they could go prophesy to the people out here. All right, so and also being a prophet, all right, there's things that come with it. You're gonna get depressed some days. That's why that's the purpose of brothers doing videos and things like that. To keep brothers motivated, man. All right, to keep the momentum going. All right, so you know, um, so you never forget, man. All right, the Lord is always reminding you, man. He's always reminding you. All right, you got to do things in an orderly fashion. All right, you got brothers, man. Like I remember, brothers did videos, and brothers hit me like, "Yo, brother, I think you should take that down." Respectfully. And guess what? The brother did it. All right. So you got to remember, all right, your calling, man. All right, that's the scriptures say, make your calling to the election sure. So you got to remember and know who you are. All right, and know what the Lord has and know his words, man. All right, so let's go ahead to the prophet Ezekiel, chapter 3, all right, in verse 17. It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3, verse 17. And it reads, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. All right, see that? That's a part of your calling, man. All right, we're supposed to watch all things and warn the people. All right, and you give them warning from what? The mouth of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, which he puts the words in your mouth to speak. All right, he's never a respecter of person. All right, and you're going to start seeing a lot of men's spirits is going to manifest to show you who they are, because right now is a hard time. All right, like I said, to remember who you are, because you are going to be showed, all right, who you truly are, man. And I'm talking through the spirit. Like if you really love the Lord, it's going to be sought out. It's going to be shown. All right. If you slighting the Lord, it's going to be shown, man. All right. It's a hard time. I'm talking to the righteous prophets, man. Stay righteous. All right. Now, back in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3, verse 17, it says, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel, Yasharallah. Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. All right. And that's what a prophet does. So when the prophet is hated, why? Because he warned the people of evil that was coming. And the ones that hate him is the ones bringing the evil, and the ones that don't believe that the evil is coming. That's why a prophet is hated. So you're going to get that hate. If you don't got no hate, if people are not hating on you for some reason, you might want to check yourself, man. All right. And it's always about self-examination first and foremost. All right. You're supposed to constantly examine yourself. All right. To make sure and that'll humble you, to keep you to be that righteous prophet, man. All right. And always occupy yourself in what prophecies, but the Lord is going to give that to you. All right. Can't no man take it away from you. All right. This is back in Ezekiel chapter 3 and 18. It says, when I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest thou warning, nor speakest Slack, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand. All right, so that's why like a main, I say example, is the apostles, man. All right, they give us warning. They've been warning us. All right, that's their job, and that's the job of a prophet, an apostle. All right, to warn the people, so they get that blood off their hands. And then through the spirit, you know that they're not hirelings, man. All right. Then you have men that they want to be known for um their knowledge, so to speak. With the spirit gives you the knowledge, man. All right. So they really want to be that man, that top dog, whatever, But the Lord, listen, the Lord will raise you up in due time, man. All right. Just stay firm, man. Occupy yourself in the prophecies and keep moving, man. All right, because the days of evil and everything that you spoke of and everything that you studied, everything that you learned is happening. All right, it's happening. So never lose faith, Don't forget who you are, man. Don't forget your purpose, okay? That's what I'm saying. Do not forget your purpose because it's very special, man. To Yahweh Bashem Shai, Bashem Kakwadash, talking to the righteous ones, all right? Not you wicked prophets, because you do have prophets of Baal as well. And they're gonna be showing to who they are too. All right, because it's at the end, it's like this, basically. Who was telling the truth and who lied to you? All right. The truth is never gonna fool, but the lies are gonna fade away. All right. Back in Ezekiel 3:19, Salaki for rambling. All right, Ezekiel 3:19, it says, yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. You see that? So when you warning these people, because you're gonna have family members and all that, you telling them, you talking to them, oh, yo, turn away from this, that, and they don't listen to you, but you warn them and they perish, or whatever happens to them, the blood is off your hands. You have no reason to feel guilt at all. All right. Now that's a part of your calling, man. It gets lonely as a prophet, man. But the Lord, when a prophet, the Lord always draws them near to him to get the prophet away from all the BS. All right. To keep the man focused. And a lot of times, you got to stay to keep a man focused. You're gonna be in sorrow a lot, so you don't get too happy. To keep you grounded, man. You're gonna feel anger. To keep you grounded. So what? You know who to call on. All right, and that's what we need in these times, man. We need Yahweh Shai, man. We need Yahweh Bashem Shai, man. Bashem Haracha HaKodash. All right, because the times are they're getting evil, man. And they're only going to keep growing more and more. All right, but you got to remember who you are. Remember your calling. All right, remember how people hate the prophets, man, and people love the prophets too. All right, it's a two-way street. Let's go to 2 Timothy 4 and 5. But you have nothing to fear. The Lord didn't give us the spirit of fear. The Lord's willing, I'll be one of those prophets. This is 2 Timothy 4. And matter of fact, let's start at verse 1. It says, in the headline, it says, preach the word. All right. Just remember your call. You were born to preach the word. All right. I'm talking to the righteous prophets, man. You were born to preach the word. All right. You were born to preach the word, and you're going to hold fast to it until death. All right. As the scriptures say. All right. 2 Timothy 4 and 1, it says, I charge thee therefore before the Most High and the Lord Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom. All right. It says, preach the word. See, there you go again. Preach the word, be instant, in season, out of season. Reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. All right. With all long suffering and doctrine. So you gotta you gotta be tested through the times, How they say battlefield tested, basically. All right. Just the show of your worthy, man. That's why the Lord had the children of Israel when they were delivered from ancient Egypt, and they roamed the wilderness for what, 40 years? He was just shutting off the dead weight, man. And as a prophet, that's what you're supposed to be doing, shedding off dead weight, man. Removing things out of your life, not bringing on things, man. Because the time is coming where everybody's going to want to be around a prophet, man. Why? Because that man is going to be chilling through the spirit. Because he's going to, what it says, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of that time. So while these people bugging out and going crazy, that man's going to be saying, because he knows what time he's living in. All right. Why? Because he preached the word. He made his call into the election short. He went out there. He hit the battlefields. You know, you're always on a battlefield. But wherever you go, wherever the Lord sends you to go, you're supposed to speak, man. Not just on these videos. All right. And the prophet knows that. All right. So going back to 2 Timothy 4 and 2, it says, preach the word, be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. It says, for the time will come, see that? For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears. And we're seeing that now. All right, so it's time to remember who you are as a righteous prophet, man. And you're able to seek out through the Spirit. You're able to point out an unrighteous man. All right, and that's a gift from Yahweh Bashim outside. Bashim Arachaha Kwadash, man. You know, but things have to go as they should. All right, they have to go so the Lord can reveal his power, man. You know, and all intentions will be seen. You know, it's the year was just of exposure, man. Basically, the Lord is exposing a lot, man, as he always does. All right. So back in 2 Timothy 4 and 4, all right, it says, and they shall turn away their ears from the truth, which you're going to see that a lot, and shall be turned unto fables. You hear that? And shall be turned into fables, man. That's why you got them false prophets out there. They're doing their job. They're back in their lot as well, man. You know, everybody is in their lot that they was before. All right. The Lord is unchanging throughout time, man. You righteous, you're righteous. You're wicked, you're wicked. The Lord doesn't change that. It's a righteous, perfect balance. All right. So remember who you are, man, through the Spirit. All right. Talking to the righteous prophets, man. Continue to be righteous, man. All right. It says, verse 5, it says, but watch thou in all things, endure afflictions. See that? Endure afflictions, because that's what's coming, man. The persecution, the ridicule, the lies, the people wanting to put you down, you know, because why? They're jealous of your spirit. They want to possess that spirit, you know, but the Lord didn't give it to them. All right. It says everything that you get is a gift from Yahweh Bashim outside. Bashim Arachakodash. You didn't ask for those gifts. They were given to you. And guess what? You were given to them, and you cherish them, and you possess them, and you treat them right, man. You know? And it'll show throughout your, like you can't fake authenticity, man. Or authenticity, how you say the word. If it's authentic, you can't fake it. You can try to duplicate it, but it's not going to be the same. All right, you can't duplicate spirits. Why? Because the Lord gave you that spirit. So it's time to remember who you are. Forget all that of what the people say about you. You know why you were called. The Spirit spoke to you. All right. I'm going back to 2 Timothy 4 and 5 again. It says, but watch thou in all things, endure afflictions, do the work of an evangelist, make full proof of thy ministry. Shit, make full proof. Let's get that in the NLT real quick, man. You're going to make full proof. So everything you do, it's about Yahweh Bashim outside. Bashim Arachakodash. It's not about us, man. Let me read this again. This is 2 Timothy 4 and 5, all right? I want to read this one in the NLT. It says, but you should keep a clear mind in every situation. Don't be afraid of suffering for Yahweh Bashim outside. Bashim Arachakodash. Work at telling others the good news and fully carry out the ministry the Most High has given you. Khan. Yo, Khan, man, Khan. That's the message to the righteous prophets, man. Yo, make a foot in all things you do, man. In all things. Everything. You know? Because the Spirit is always with you. Wherever you go, the Spirit is with you, man. You can't shake the Spirit. You know? Can't shake it. Matter of fact, that I gotta read this whole thing in NLT real quick. Cause that was beautiful, man. Let's start from the top. 2 Timothy 4:1 in the NLT. It says, I solemnly urge you to present Salakia in the presence of the Most High and Hamashiach Yahushua, who will someday judge the living and the dead when he appears to set up his kingdom. And this is why you got to remember who you are, man. Because the Lord gave you an office, he gave you a job that's very important, you know? Like if you got a job, you do it with all your might, all your strength. Why? Because you love your job, man. And it comes with a lot of hatred, ridicule, but look at the message right here. The Lord's coming to set up a kingdom, and you have a part in that, man. You know? Just gotta endure a little much more longer, man. All right. Because you prophesied about these times. You prophesied about them. All right. So this is 2 Timothy 4 and 2 and NLT. It says, preach the word of the Most High. Be prepared whether the time is favorable or not. Patiently correct, rebuke, and encourage your people with good teaching. For a time is coming when you will no longer listen. Salakia. So for the time is coming when people will no longer listen to sound and wholesome teaching. They will follow their own desires and will look for teachers who will tell them whatever their itching ears want to hear. They will reject the truth and chase after myths. Why? Because that truth gets too hard, man, for, you know, it becomes, it's a burden to them because they don't want to hear it, man. It's what to say the truth is a two-edged sword, man. All right, it cuts. And you gotta remember, that's what your words are, and they're cutting people, whether you know it or not, man. Look what the whole United States government is doing because of the prophet speaking, man. They're changing laws so the men can't go out there and speak. That's how powerful your words are, man. You know? You gotta remember that. This is no game, man. All right. Verse 5. It says, but you should keep a clear mind in every situation. Do not be afraid of suffering for Yahweh Shem Shai. Work at telling others good news and fully carry out the ministry the Most High has given you. All right, so let's go here. Jeremiah. All right, Lord's willingness is edifying and exalting. It's really basically to be an exhortation to whoever hears it or needs it. The Spirit is sent where it has to go. This is Jeremiah chapter 1, start at verse 7 in the NLT. All right, so you got to remember, check it out. It says, Yahweh Shem Yashar replied, do not, all right, check this out. All right, we're going to go to verse 4. This is Jeremiah chapter 1 and verse 4. All right, in the NLT, because this is Jeremiah remembering his first vision when he was called. All right, he was called to do a job, man. So you got to remember who you are, because when they come for you, you can't complain. No, don't complain. Yahweh shot in and complain. All right. If some men is going to perish, and some men is not. But that's why the scriptures, the scriptures tell you that the dead and Yahweh shall arise first. All right. I'm not saying that you want to be in that situation, but it's going to happen. All right. As Jeremiah 1 and 4, it says, Yahweh Bashem Shah gave me this message. I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. You see that? I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. Before you were born, I set you apart and anointed and appointed you as my prophet to the nations. Damn. I was just quoting the scripture. I forgot I had it written down, man. You know? That's the Spirit. But you got to remember that the Lord, that's how important you are, man. The Lord ordained you a prophet against the nations. Not one, the nations. You're prophesying against all of them, man. Why? Because the Lord has his nation. All right, that's the nation of Yasharallah. You know, the Israelites, not Israelis. All right. The true people, man. And this is talking to his prophets, all right? And Jeremiah had to remember that. So when we going through the afflictions, Lord's will not be a part of the number, you going through it, just remember, man. Just remember these words from the prophet Jeremiah. I'm going to read this again. Jeremiah 1:4 in the NLT. It says, Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai gave me this message. I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. Before you were born, I set you apart and appointed you as my prophet to the nations. O sovereign Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai, I said, I can't speak for you. I'm too young. It says, Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai replied, don't say I'm too young, for you must go wherever. See that? For you must go wherever I send you and say whatever I tell you. Damn. Damn. That's what, hey, the Lord, he put it on you, that spirit. And you got to do what he say, man. Don't forget it. But the Lord, he said, he knew you before you were even in your mother's womb, man. You have an important job as a righteous prophet, man. You know, it's your duty to do what you're doing. And that's an honorable duty, man. All right. Like I said, the ridicule, the affliction, everything. Why is that going to happen? Because they hated the ones before you. All right. The prophets were always hated, man. You know, and I said they were loved as well. They were hated by the wicked, loved by the righteous. All right. If you love by too many mother effers, that's the most likely the wicked, man. You know, and if you hated by a lot of MFers, guess what? You're most likely doing the right thing. You know, because the path is narrow, man. You know, only one man can enter through at a time. The scriptures tell you that. All right. And my grandma used to say, man, you know, for those mega churches, my cousin sent me the tell. I gotta remember what it said, but basically, she said if it's too many people around, she said the more people, the more devils. That's what it was. The more people, the more men, the more devils that's around, man. That's why the Lord got what? A remnant, man. 144,000 men, which is small amongst Israel, man, to be the governors of the nation. That's a small remnant, all right? And the righteous man knows that, you know? Anyway, going back, Salaki, if I'm rambling. Jeremiah 1:6, it says, O sovereign Yahweh, Bashim Al-Shai, I said, I can't speak for you, I'm too young. Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai replied, don't say I'm too young, for you must go wherever I send you and say whatever I tell you. And don't be afraid of the people, for I will be with you and will protect you. I, Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai, have spoken. Then Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai reached out and touched my mouth and said, look, Salakia, look, I have put my words in your mouth. Today I appoint you to stand up against nations and kingdoms. Some you must uproot and tear down, destroy and throw down. Others you must build up and plant. Then Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai Salaki said to me, look, Jeremiah, what do you see? And I replied, I see a branch for an almond tree. Salaki. It says in Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai said, that's right. And it means that I am watching. And I certainly carry out all my plans. You see that? Damn. So the Lord was telling him, he's watching, man, and he carries out all his plans, man. Because why? He ordained you. So everything he said to you, he's going to do. All right? He's never lied. He's never lied. You know? He's whatever in O. All right? However many battles in O, man. He's undefeated. All right? So you have an important job, man. You're important to Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. Bashim Harakha Hakwadash, man. All right? The time has come. All right? For you to remember who you are. You should have remembered But you were doing your job. You were doing your job. But the time has come for you to remember. All right? And don't be prideful. Just remember and rejoice and praise Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. And thank him for his mercy that he bestowed upon you. All right? All right, that's it. That's it on that one. Salakia. Let's go to Isaiah, the prophet Isaiah 58, chapter 58, and we're going to start at verse 1. All right. Damn. In the headliner says true and false worship. All right. And this is in the NLT, Isaiah 58 and 1 in the NLT. It says, shout with the voice of a trumpet blast. Shout aloud. Don't be timid. Tell my people Israel of their sins. That's your job. All right. Brothers going off, you tell them. You know? You tell your people when they err, man. All right. To get that blood off your hands. But you gotta remember your job, that's important. All right. That's very important, man. A false prophet he just gonna speak that smooth shit. And that's what the people want. All right. It says, verse 2, yet they act so poisonous, they come to the temple every day and seem delighted to learn all about me. They act like a righteous nation that would never abandon the laws of its power. They ask me to take action on their behalf, pretending they want to be near me. See that? We have fasted before you. They say, so why aren't you impressed? We have been very hard on ourselves, and you don't even notice it. Because they're looking for clout, man. It says, I will tell you why. I respond. It's because you are fasting to please yourselves. See that? It's looking for that clout. Even while you fast, you keep oppressing your workers. Damn. It says, what good is fasting when you keep on fighting and quarreling? This kind of fasting will never get you anywhere with me. Damn, man. That's a prophet's job to tell these dudes these things, man. Because you see dudes, they be like, I was fasting, but they still be wicked with it, man. First of all, you ain't supposed to tell nobody when you fasting, man. That's between you and Yahweh Hashem outside. Hashem HaRachakadash. That's why when Yahweh Shah came off a fast and he was eating so much, they was calling him a glutton, a drunkard, and all these things. Not knowing what the man was going through, man. You know, not knowing well, he was in order, man. All right, he's always in order. He always will be in order, just like his prophets will be. Because that's their job. They was given this office, man, to speak. You know? And it's, no, man, it's all about message to the righteous prophets, man. Remember who you are, man. All right? And just read. Because the do's and don'ts are in the scriptures. And if it's in your spirit, it's going to be in your spirit. So you just automatically, your program. All right, so let's go to 1 Corinthians. It's the last scripture. I'm going to bring out 1 Corinthians. Lord's willing, like I said, this is edifying. All right, 1 Corinthians chapter 14 and 29. All right, where we at? All right, come. 1 Corinthians 14 and 29. It says, let 2 or 3 people prophesy, and let the others evaluate what is said. All right. Let 2 or 3 people prophesy and let the others evaluate what is said. But if someone is prophesying and another person receives a revelation from Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, the one who is speaking must stop. In this way, all who prophesy will have a turn to speak, one after the other, so that everyone will learn and be encouraged. Remember that people who prophesy are in control of their spirit and can take turns. For the Most High is not a power of disorder, but of peace, as in all the meetings of the Most High's holy people. You see that? For the Most High is not a power of disorder, but of peace, as in all meetings of the Most High's holy people, man. All right. So we out here in the highways and hedges and everything. You can't be cutting off your brothers and while they're speaking. The scriptures say that these are righteous prophets. That's why you gotta remember who you are, because you gotta be peaceable, man. It's in your spirit to do so. All right. So Lord's willing, this was edifying. It was just on my spirit, heavy to do this video. Like I said, Lord's willing, it was edifying. You got something out of it. To the next lesson, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Arachakwadash, double honors to the apostles, elders, bishops, a great millstone, taught us the truth, honor citations to the elect. To the next lesson, I'm saying Mawafa Baba Ball and Kwame Asharala. Shalom.